Hey everybody, Julie Skolnick from With Understanding Comes Calm, and you may have heard me interview two experts who are going to join us in our 2E Adult Empowerment Group coming up this Monday. And I'm sitting here with my good friend and colleague, Linda Roggli.
Yeah. Hi there.
So glad that she's going to join us because Linda is a professional certified coach, award-winning author, and founder of the ADDiva Network. There's not a better name out there. She is an internationally recognized expert in midlife and senior ADHD. She created the popular ADHD Get Organized program. And that's the secret, because I want to get some of those nuggets from Linda. So she's going to join us at our 2E Adult Empowerment Group on May 1st to share with us some ideas about, like, why is it tough for gifted people to get organized, and what are some ways we can think about making that a little bit easier. So Linda, tell us a little bit of what people can expect from that May 1st session.
I would love to, and thank you for letting me be here with you today. It's always so much fun to be with Julie. So a couple of things. I jotted down kind of a little outline for kind of what you're going to hear about. So basically, first of all, let's talk about
That's because you're so organized, Linda.
Well, no, it's because I have ADHD and I have to do this or I will go on some kind of, I will be talking about kangaroos pretty soon, you know, which is true because there's a woman in the Get Organized group who rescues baby kangaroos in Australia. So you see, we could have gone there quite easily. We will not go there.
Hole, not a rabbit hole.
That's right. That's right. I will not go to kangaroos on May 1st, however, but what I will tell you is that one of the reasons that we 2E people, and I am one of the group, we can get organized. Sometimes it's organized underneath, but it's not organized on top. It's disarray on top. Now, there's various. I mean, some people are really, really organized in one space, but completely disorganized in another space. I've had people talk about, I'm going into the scary room. So, but eventually the scary room turned into the guest room again, which was kind of cool. The transformation happened, but it's overwhelming to look at that. And so we push it away. It's like, I don't have time right now. I'm thinking about something else. And that's one of the reasons that we get disorganized to begin with, what I call the deadly drop and go. My mind is going here. I've got something I need to put somewhere, but I'm just going to put it here for just a second and I'll come right back to it. But 3 hours later, you come back and go, oh, I didn't put that away. And then you're thinking about something else and you don't put it away then either. So suddenly that stuff becomes a pile. And then some other stuff comes on top of it. I have this cartoon that I use in my classes, and it's there's this huge stack of papers, right? And she says, I'm not disorganized. The new stuff is on top and the old stuff is on the bottom. And that's exactly the case, right? Which means, don't you dare touch my piles. Oh, no, no, no. I have a house cleaner and she comes in like, she knows, don't touch that stuff. That's Linda's stuff and she will bite your head off or do something equivalent, not literally. So some of the basics of organizing, you can find organizing basics all over the internet. You know, there's no secret to this, but what I've created is a system so that we can take this and feel a little bit more manageable. So the first thing is we're going to narrow our focus. Instead of that entire scary room that woman started with, we started with the tiny little corner, or maybe it's a corner of your desk, for heaven's sake. You know, it can be just something that's small enough that you can actually see some progress on, because what happens often when people organize is they jump from here to there. Oh, I should put that away. And I jump over there. And then we get distracted by something over here. And then kind of like the pile, we forget to come back here. So
where is the camera in my office where you're watching me all the time?
So bottom line is that we narrow the focus and we focus on something that is doable. And my professional organizer, which is I'm inspired by her, and she says I'm the most ADHD person she's ever worked with. And she says, I get great ideas from you. And like, why am I paying you then? You should be paying me for these ideas. However, what she says is that we need to get all the way, everything needs to be put away or dealt with, because otherwise it's not done. D-O-N-E is my favorite 4-letter word. I just don't get there often enough, right? So when we work on a small space, we can actually see the progress we're making. We can actually finish it, get to done, and then we can move on to the next space. So I talk about something called macro organizing, macro sorting, and micro sorting. So macro sorting is kind of it's kind of like kindergarten sorting, right? All the blue box go over here and the red box go over here and all that kind of stuff. But we don't want 53 categories for that macro sorting, because that's the big stuff. And we can purge as we go along. You know, we have, of course, you're not going to keep that. Well, maybe you are going to keep that magazine from 1942 because that might be archival, but nonetheless, we do big categories, then we come back to those piles again. You know that thing about Ohio, only handle things once? No, we don't even go there. Don't even tell me that. I would like to say something a little more crude, but I won't. Anyway, my ex lives in Ohio too. That's not good either. So we go back to micro sort these things. That's when we get to decide whether we're going to keep them or not. And it's also an opportunity to do some more purging. What I find is that in micro sorting, that's where we get into the weeds. Like, let's just pretend we have a stack of magazines, and that's one of our categories. We got a stack of magazines, and we're going to go through them on the micro sort. And suddenly we're reading the magazine. Oh, I meant to read that article. Oh, I'm not going to get rid of this one. You know, so we spend hours and hours and hours, and we 2 hours later, we've only gone through 3 magazines, and we have 53 magazines to go through. So when we do that, that helps us narrow things down. And then the other piece, and you'll hear more about this on May 1st, but after you do that, the stuff you're going to keep needs a place to be. It needs a home. And sometimes, for instance, I worked with a woman who, she finally went through all papers. Papers are the worst thing. I will tell you, that is the most difficult thing to work with. Physical things, you can see the progress. Papers, you do 25 pages and it's just gone this far in the pile. I mean, you don't see much. It only reduces it by 8.5 by 11. I mean, unless you have legal size paper. So one woman had gotten all the papers in her office, and she had them in folders, and they were labeled. That's another thing we talk about. And they were labeled. She was ready to file them. She goes to her file cabinet. She can't possibly put one more file in there because it's so backed up. It's so packed. So sometimes we have to walk backward through our mind, like they do in Sesame Street. In this case, take a walk backward through our space, and we have to deal with the things that are supposed to be the home that actually need to be sorted first. So you can see where this process kind of goes on and on and on, which is why we need some outside support, which is why I started Get Organizing. The other thing I want to mention to everyone, just in case you get inspired to start doing this, as you go through and organize things, be sure that you leave yourself what I call breadcrumbs. And I use super sticky Post-its for that. And when you leave a space, write on that Post-it what your next step is going to be. And put it right on there so that you know exactly when you come back. You don't have to go through, what was my thought process? Where was I going with this? I don't remember what this is. I have to sort it again. My theory is think once really hard. Don't think about it again. We got too many other things, important things to think about other than doing things more than once, right?
Wow.
So finally, all I want to say is that if you're going to organize, it's better to do it with somebody else, frankly, not somebody who's judgmental, but you need to have time to do it. And that's the other big issue for us, is that we have a lot of more interesting things to do than organize and file and do all that boring ho-hum kind of stuff. But we actually have to carve out some time. So you can time block that, and you need some time not only to get it organized. It looks great. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And 3 days later, it's back to where it was. So maintaining is also a big issue. Let me give you, spoiler alert, it's called put things away. Okay. Other than that, you've just gotten my entire process.
I was just going to say, wow, what's left for May 1st? So Linda, I think what we're going to do is we're going to tell the people, our members in the TUI Adult Empowerment Group, to think about a space that they're really challenged in organizing. Good. And they're going to bring it, and we're going to all talk about it, and we'll go into breakout rooms and kind of commiserate, because one of the greatest things about the TUI Adult Empowerment Group is that for the first time ever for most people, they're hanging out with not one, not two, but 100% of the people are TUI, which is so empowering and awesome. And by the way, you made me think of this time that I helped my very best friend get her pantry under control. And her name is Wendy. And I called it the Wendy Cluttering.
I love it.
I knew you'd love that.
That is
so
perfect.
If you're interested in all the awesome things that are going to happen in the TUI Adult Empowerment Group, one of which is hanging out with Linda Roggli, organizer extraordinaire. And if you want to learn more about being a TUI adult and finding fulfillment professionally and in your personal lives, then click on the link below. You can learn more. You can learn about all 6 sessions, and you can register. But do it fast, guys, because There are only a couple of days left. We start Monday, April 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern. So we can't wait to see you there. Linda, thank you so much for joining us.
Can't wait to be there. See you.
Okay.